Okay, we might kick this thing off now. Basically, welcome everyone to today's webinar. It's on the back of some working group meetings and some upcoming changes to the Results Vault product, which we call MyNetball. We're running through a webinar with InteractSport to basically step you guys through some of the changes to the user interface as a result of the Results Vault 7 update. So basically today we've got Matt Schimmel here from InteractSport, who is a client services specialist over there. He's essentially our account manager and works closely with myself and Nick and Jess. So we will be taking questions, but they will be at the end. As you guys have noticed, I've muted everyone. So if you can hold off on asking your questions until the end and then ask your questions via the chat feature. Please just make sure that the questions are related to RV7. We won't cover much off in terms of the major project changes that can be raised separately. So please keep your questions related to the user interface changes. In that case, I'll hand it over to Matt, who will be stepping you through the rest of the webinar.
Great, thanks, Paddy. Hopefully everyone can hear me. As Paddy mentioned, we'll run you through, I guess, the RV7 changes and give you, I guess, a look into our UAT platform and how it currently looks and how it's going to look on production when it goes live in a couple of weeks. But we'll start off just doing a bit of an overview and giving you an introduction into RV7 and what it is and why it's come about, and I guess the changes you can expect with the RV7 project. So, an overview, what is RV7? It's a project to refresh and modernise the platform across all sports, which includes the user interface or UI, which you'll hear referred to a few times in the webinar, user experience or UX, and a more sophisticated and accessible data. So I'm sure you agree that the admin platform was starting to get a little bit outdated. There'd been some minor improvements to different pages over the years, but I think there was a really good opportunity there to do this refresh, and I guess that leads into the why, because we've had feedback from our clients and end users. They've identified several key aspects of the platform update with the aim to improve the experience for users when engaging with our products. So obviously we've got our users front of mind with this project to make it as easy as possible for them to perform the task within the system and do everything they need to do to administer their clubs or associations and even yourselves at a state MO level as well as national level too. So the objective is to develop a more streamlined and accessible product, creating a more user-friendly solution for both administrators and consumers. I thought, I guess, just to call out early on what is not changing to hopefully prevent any angst that you may have. So what's not changing are the data within the system. So, participant data, competition data is not being removed or touched as part of this project. The organisation, affiliations and the hierarchy of entities within the system, again, that's not being touched, so that will stay the same. Configuration of competitions and registrations, as well as inheriting that configuration year on year, that's not going to change or be affected by this. The functionality within the pages, and that's staying the same. It's just a refresh of how that's displayed and modernising that, which you'll see shortly. And the participant portal and public portal aren't being touched for now. It's only the admin portal that this project is focusing on for the time being. So it's very much all those admin pages. You'll see the changes reflected there. So to highlight the changes that you'll notice once we do jump in there, the first one is the administration modes. So before there was, I think depending on what level you're administrating the admin site from, there was for 3 or 4 modes at the top right. There's governance, participation mode, competition mode, and potentially website mode as well. So we've reduced the amount of modes, and now it's only 2. That includes management and participation. So the management mode will only appear for those entities that can manage child organisations. So that's obviously associations, yourselves at a state level, as well as obviously at a national level. And then the participation mode then includes obviously any entity that fields a team in a competition. So obviously all clubs will have that mode, as well as any entities that manage competitions as well as field teams in different competitions. The website and governance modes in the current /old admin portal, they'll now appear as menu items in the main menu at the top of the screen. So the structure of those menus is you've got your main menu items at the top, which I've highlighted in red. Will come across the screen there, and then when you select those menus, they will then appear on the left-hand side as a sub-menu item. So before there was a drop-down menu, which would cover the screen depending on which menu item you were looking at. Now when you select a particular main menu item, the sub-menu items will then appear on the left here. So the main page that you're looking at is not impeded. And there's also a search menus option. This is a new feature. So at the top of the sub menu item, there's a little search box. So that'll allow the users to search for a menu. So for example, if they wanted to add a new person, they could just type in person, and it will do a search for any menu items with person within it. So yeah, nice little new feature to help the users navigate around. Cool. So I'm just seeing my audio is breaking up in the chat.
Yeah, Matt, it's just a little bit breaking up just a little bit. You can maybe move the mic a little bit closer, or talk a little bit more succinctly, maybe. It might make a difference, but unfortunately, everyone, please just sort of bear with us. There's sort of not much more we can do. I've muted everyone, so...
I'm in a meeting room at the moment. I'll move closer to a window and see if that helps. Hang on a sec. So can people hear me better now? Just write yes in the group chat if you can hear me better now.
Yeah, it sounds a bit better, Matt. Just kick on, mate.
Yeah, cool. Sorry about that. We'll continue on. Yeah, so hopefully you caught, I guess, the menu changes, but yeah, basically you've got your main menu at the top now, and your sub-menu items will appear on the left and won't impede the page. So phase one focus has really been the navigation UI within each page within the admin portal. So I guess really focusing on improving the experience around the users controls and the organisation controls. I'll demo those a little bit later on when we jump in there. Obviously the menu navigation, which I just went through, and also the landing pages. I guess really improving those to surface relevant data, as well as quick links to commonly used pages. So I guess making those landing pages more worthwhile for the users to help them get to where they need to get to. And then user interface. So the UI standards, we've implemented consistent styling and layout across pages and activities. So we've really focused on, I guess, that consistency, which I think probably you'd agree wasn't there as part of the current old admin platform. But we've, I guess, implemented consistent styling of buttons and the way pages look and are structured across the site. And we've also got a style guide created for our developers to stick to, so when they're creating or updating new admin pages, they have a guide to refer to make sure that is consistent. National state navigation. So similar to before, I guess national and MO or state users can navigate quickly to their clubs or affiliates below them. So the top left is, I guess, within the screen will show you which entity that you're currently administering. You can select that, and then there's a search option there to then search for clubs, and obviously then the club name will appear, or the entity name will appear along with their logo as well, make it a bit easier to find and select the club or association that you're looking for. Landing pages, which I touched on before. So the landing pages have been updated to show, I guess, relevant data and metrics, while also including quick links to popular pages. These pages are dynamic, so they do change depending on what level you're administering. So I guess the landing pages at a national level will look different to the landing pages at a club level. Obviously, the national level will show overall statistics around sort of metrics and data, where the club landing page will be very focused, obviously, on that club and what's going on within their organisation. To be completed and updated. So I guess in the next couple of weeks, we're in the final stages of QA, making sure that everything is working as it should. There's obviously a lot of pages for us to review and ensure that they are working as expected. So it's definitely a lot going on here with that, but we're fully committed to doing that in the next few weeks before the release, which I'll go through a little bit later. Help topics and content to be linked and displayed throughout the platform. So at the moment, obviously the help topics are available for each page, but they need to be updated. So they currently still have the old screenshots of the current / old admin system. And we'll be going through a bit of a project with our support team to update those continually, and I think we'll focus on the key support articles that relate to pages and functionality that is commonly used by administrators. So I think I'll definitely focus on sort of registration and competition management help articles, which will link to those help topics, and we'll go from there. Confirmation of a support management plan. So we have uplifted our support team resources to handle any questions or issues that may arise. But we're in the process there of just confirming that support management plan to ensure it's as smooth of transition as possible. And we're also in the process of creating a video introducing RV7 that obviously we'll use at our end, but we'll also provide to our clients, to MyNetball Australia, and you could potentially use that for your MO comms if you feel the need to communicate that as well. So that's to come. All right. So I guess the big day is Monday, 8th of October, because that's when this will all be going live, and you'll notice the new, the admin platform will become available on production and obviously the clubs and associations will notice that as well. So deployment to production and monitoring period, they'll happen Monday the 8th of October. And obviously that week we'll be continually monitoring until Friday the 13th of October, but that's not, I guess, a locked-in date. That monitoring will obviously go past that date if required. So why 8th of October? This is an important upgrade of our platform, and early October provides the best window to reduce immediate impact on our end users. Namely, it's a low usage period of our platform across all our clients. So we experience a large drop-off in usage between October and December. So it's the end of the winter season, going into the summer season. There's a little window there where the usage definitely drops off, and that's why we've decided to, I guess, complete this project with that in mind. And training and education of new or existing users generally commences in October, and therefore such a significant change to the interface needs to occur prior to training and education periods. So supporting you through the change, I guess some things that we'll do: training and change materials. We're currently being developed to assist NA and you as the state or NOs to communicate the changes to end users. So obviously updating those support articles with, I guess, RV7 screenshots, as well as any changes or improvements to the workflow, as well as that video I mentioned before, to help you communicate at your end. Uplift and resourcing internally to deliver. So as I mentioned, we've increased the headcount of the support team to help with those, I guess, support documentation, as well as any support tickets that come through our system to deal with those and do that quickly. We've also got all our devs obviously working Monday to Friday. A few of them are also working on weekends to get this over the line. So it's definitely very busy in the office here. There's some long hours being worked to deliver the project. And we're also doing daily releases to quickly rectify issues post-deployment. So traditionally we do releases once every fortnight, but as this is such a massive project with so many pages being updated, we'll be doing daily releases once that deployment happens on the 8th of October to troubleshoot any issues that may arise or any bugs that may occur. So, so that's the end of the presentation. I'll provide that to Paddy after this as a PDF file, and then you'll be able to, I guess, use that as a reference as well as sharing that with your members. So we'll get stuck into the actual demo of this webinar. Hopefully you can still hear me okay. So this is the, I guess, the landing page of the new RV7 admin portal. So the key features here, as I mentioned in the overview, so we've got the modes top right here. And if you select participation, you'll notice the menus will then change on the left here. The account, so this is the account of the user. There's a few things they can do to change the password or other bits of information regarding the user account. So as I mentioned before, you've got the main menu item here. And if you select, say, people, okay, you'll now see that those sub-menu items appear on the left-hand side. And if there's sub-menu items, they'll appear like this. So if there's a grouping of menu items within the sub-menu, that's how they'll display. Here's the search menu option I mentioned before. Okay, so if you type in a word, it will search the menu and the menus across the board and surface those. So allowing the I guess, the user to easily navigate to different pages if they're having some trouble finding those. In terms of navigating or administrating down to your affiliate clubs and associations, you'll see here there's a search option for searching for an entity, and they appear here, and you select that entity, and then they'll then appear. You'll then administer that entity downwards from your, I guess, your MO level. So just to show you some key pages, so I might just go back to the landing page. So this is the landing page that I'm obviously administering Netball Victoria at the moment, but it looks very similar for Netball Australia as well. So you'll have these metrics available on the screen here, as well as quick links on the right to, I guess, commonly used pages. There's a task which are more related for clubs, but Netball Australia will be able to set tasks as, I guess, reminders for clubs to perform. There's more metrics there, and then down the bottom we've got system updates, support and help links, as well as notices of any important information that will need to be communicated to users. So let's go to some key pages now, just to show you what they look like. So in the organisation menu, organisation details. So I guess you'll see that a lot of the fields and the buttons and the options are very consistent now across the platform. And these blue buttons obviously will be prominent across the admin side from now on. If we look at people, person list. So the page is very much similar to the current old admin portal. Obviously the buttons have just been refreshed, and the tick boxes and everything like that. Functionality is identical. It's obviously just a refresh of the interface that you notice. I think there's a couple more little options here. There's a mail option against a person, so a user can easily email an individual if required directly from the system. Another key page, add new person. Again, functionality stayed the same within this page. It's just there's a refresh to the interface and the buttons. Registration. Let's go to product management. Registration accounts. Just loading up. I think it's worth noting that our UAT platform is a little bit slower than our production platform. Hence why some pages may take a little bit longer to load. There we go. Okay, so there's registration accounts. You'll see some stylings haven't been updated yet, so I think this will probably stay the same, but some Not all pages yet within our UAT environment have, I guess, have our devs updated with those UI improvements. But I guess all the main important pages have been, and that's what we're sort of been focusing on in the short term. But yeah, over time, all those pages will then be updated with the new interface, new stylings, and that consistent look and feel that the RV7 project will deliver. For competitions, grade management. Yes, as I mentioned before, all the past and current grades and competition information will be available in this platform. That's not being touched. It's just obviously the look and feel of these pages. Edit fixture. Okay, same again, functionality stays the same, just an improved look and feel. One of the other, I guess, changes that we've made through RV7 is reports. And rather than having sort of reports scattered throughout the system on different pages, what we've decided to do is group all reports available within the system for all, I guess, areas on the one page. So you'll see here, this is reports for Netball Victoria, and I've got all their system-related reports, registration reports, organisation reports, members, competitions, teams, programs, and websites. So, as you can see, there are quite a lot of reports within the system, probably more than what you expected. But I guess allowing this, having all the reports on the one page will help the users, I guess, understand what reporting is available within the system, and then also to allow them to easily navigate to different reports. This page will be quite dynamic depending on the level you're administering. So a club wouldn't see all these reports. For example, enterprise reports, that's only available at a state or national level. So the enterprise reports won't appear in the reports section for a club or an association. So it will be, I guess, relevant depending on what entity you're administering. Cool. So the last thing I'm going to show you is just the automated part payments, which is a new feature. So what I'll do, I'll administer a club. So I'm going to look for Aberfeldy. On them, top left, I'm now administering Aberfeldy. The registration, the sign-up form management. So I'm going to show you how I guess the club can allow for part payments to be made as part of a registration, and then show you the sign-up form and how that part payment appears, as well as the participant portal and how a participant can log in to then make further payments or parts of their payments later on. So sign-up form management for a club. Okay, I'll just edit this test form as an example. Scroll down to payment settings. You'll see allow part payment tick box. So you select that. If that's selected and the sign-up form is obviously made public and gone live, within the payment section of the sign-up form, there'll be a payment schedule. And then the person registering, whether it be the participant or the parent, will be able to choose if they make a single payment or if they make 2, 3, or 4 separate payments. Obviously, it will be calculated based on the cost of the purchase. So if they select, say, 4, for example, and then logging into the participant portal, you'll see that this example, the participant has made that initial payment 1 of $53, and then they'll have a list of outstanding payments, which they can then log in and pay those outstanding payments and due dates there as well. So that's been rolled out for rugby this season, and they've used it this year. It's worked quite well for them. So now, obviously, it will be available for netball to do the same thing, for the clubs to set that, and for participants or parents to take part. Cool. All right. Well, that's everything I wanted to show you as part of the the RV7 project, and updating you with what's coming. That PowerPoint I showed at the start. Apologies for the audio, but I will, as I said, I'll provide that to Paddy, and then he can circulate to you that you can use for reference.
All right, thanks very much for that, Matt. I guess we've seen a couple of questions come through the chat one. The first one from JL, just asking about the reports on the report page. Do you guys have any plan to make those report headings collapsible, given the sort of the number of reports? It's get a bit of rolling action happening. So is that something that you guys have on the roadmap, so to speak?
Not in the short term. However, I know, for example, the registration reports, there's actually double up reporting happening there. So obviously clean that up. But I'll definitely take that as feedback. I don't think there is any plans at the moment to make these menus collapsible, but as I mentioned before, they will be dynamic and show reporting that's only applicable for that level of entity. So clubs only see club-related reports. Obviously, national will see probably a lot more, because there'll be a lot more reports available at that level. But I'll take those feedback.
You're just breaking up there towards the end, but I think we've sort of got the gist of it. I guess a couple more questions have come through on that. On the reporting, given there's sort of so many reports, it might be an opportunity to sort of have a search function or something like that. But other people have sort of mentioned that it's actually good to see all the reports on one page. I think it's also probably worth noting that I don't think all of these reports are currently available to each entity. I think at the moment in the U18 environment, we can see we're seeing all reports for all entities. So when looking at a club level, there probably won't be as many reports as what you can see here. So I understand that's still being worked on.
That's
Matt,
correct.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. We've got a question about the calculated part payments. Does that include the processing fee for each payment? Are you able to answer that one now, or is that one that we have to come back to?
Come back to, but my initial thought is that will be included in the overall purchase. So when you get to that final page, you confirm it. The processing fee will be part of that $150 overall cost, and then that will then be divided into 4 or how many part payments the person has selected. But I can get that confirmed to be 100% sure.
All right, we'll come back, take that one offline. On the, I think it was the homepage, there is some, there's like a task feed.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to sort of talk about that and whether that's how that works?
Yeah, so at the moment, my understanding is that the task can only be set at a national level.
Okay.
However, I know another sport had a similar query where their states would be interested to to add their own tasks for their own club. So those tasks are designed very much for, within the system, within the portal, what the club admins will need to perform. But we can definitely look into that. At the moment, it's only national level tasks that then flow down to the club.
Okay, thanks for that. We've got another question. I think there's one about the help topic pages not currently being visible, but I think that's, as Matt mentioned earlier in the presentation, they're still working through this and making sure that each of those little call outs for help topics are going to be sort of added as they work through, and that's sort of one of the priorities at the moment, Matt.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So there's a couple more questions coming through about the part payments. We haven't, as Netball Australia, haven't communicated anything in great detail about this feature. So I'm just making a note of these questions that are coming through about the part payments, and I'll be able to communicate out to everyone shortly just what's included in that feature. Just looking through some other questions. Yeah, all to do with part payments. There's a question here about an ability to start and make your own quick links, or how are the quick links determined?
Well, I guess they're just set by us currently. If there are, commonly these pages which aren't being listed there, we could definitely, look to update that. But at the moment, that's updated by us, or our devs surface the top 5 pages, or however many sort of quick links are being shown on those landing pages. But in terms of ability to start and make your own quick links, not currently possible, but I think it's a worthwhile feedback, and I'll note that down as to look at down the track.
Cool. And then we've got another question here just about the landing pages. Are they customizable? So having, I guess, for each administrator, some metrics that might be relevant to them. I think that's not currently the case, but it's I think what's currently in place are sort of metrics at a very base level, and it's set at the entity level.
Yeah, correct.
But in the future, that might be worth something noting.
Yeah, I think I expect we'll get quite a bit of feedback on the landing pages and what information and metrics are shown there. But again, it's not in scope in this initial phase to make the landing pages dynamic based on who is logging in and the users. At the moment, it's just set to each putting in information from that organisation within the system. But down the track again, I think that'd be a good idea. It's just like most things, it's just working out how difficult or how easy it is to implement, and then sort of weighing everything that's going on and whether we can fit it in. But again, I'll note that down as feedback.
Great. And there's another question here from Ben who's asking about the program screens. Are you able to just open those up again and talk us through any changes which might have happened in there?
Yeah. Programs menu, put its own menu now, and then it's got the 3 relevant sub-menu items on the left. At the moment, this page, by looks of it, hasn't got the RV7 treatment by our devs, but that will be to come. But all the functionality is the same. The way you set up programs and manage those programs are the same.
Yeah. So So Ben, those pages will appear exactly the same at the moment. If they are to change, we'll be communicating that to you guys before that happens.
You said the RV7 stylings hasn't been implemented to this page just yet, although some of the buttons and the different fields have been, but they'll need to be completed, which will be one of the many items for our devs to do.
And Shana, just to answer your question about the prompting members to make the part payment when it's due, my understanding is that it's a direct debit kind of function. It'll charge your card when it's due. Whether there's an email notification, I believe there is, but I'll be able to communicate that with you as part of this further part payments communication, and some documentation to follow as well. So are there any more questions related to the user interface changes? There's still a few questions coming through about the part payments, but I'll take those offline. Ben, there's no changes to the website. Which website are you talking about, Ben?
If it's club websites, they're not being changed.
So this is the admin portal. So all the changes you're seeing here, you're going to be seeing them shortly. Is that what you're talking about, Ben? So Matt, yeah, do you want to just show us the website module?
Yeah, so the change here was before the website had its own mode. It's now just a menu item, but all those, I guess, pages and admin screens related to the website can now be found in these sub-menu items. So the site design, all the content, file manager, adding news, events, photo galleries, etc. So all those website pages that are currently available are now listed down the left-hand side here, rather than obviously mode and then having all these items at the top here, and now linked up to the main menu website item here on the left.
And we've got another question about the when you're searching for organisations. Yes, to answer the question, yes, it will only show the organisations that the administrator is entitled to see. So any entities under their entity hierarchy. So that feature will remain the same. It'll just look a little bit differently.
That's correct.
All right, guys, I might sort of wrap it up there. If you do have any further questions, related to the rollout of the RV7 or major project enhancements, which we haven't covered as part of this session, please get in contact with me and we can talk through that specifically. For those members of the MyNetball working group, we do have a session tomorrow morning where you'll be given another opportunity to raise any questions with myself and other members of the Netball Australia team. So thanks, Matt, for sharing with us the RV7 updates, and we'll speak to everyone shortly.
Thanks, everyone.